ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed under your watch?
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the
Do
department.
you see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation? Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit to this committee, we will never destroy the evidence in the January 6th investigation? Why can't you give this committee and the American people that assurance?
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump that was false? Is that why you're frightened now? I can't believe this is even...
Why do you have difficulty answering that question?
She couldn't bring herself to give a straight yes or no answer. And that's when the tension in the room boiled over. The clash between Adam Schiff and Pam Bondi wasn't just a heated exchange. It was a battle over the very future of Democratic accountability. Schiff zeroed in on one undeniable point. Without an attorney general willing to act independently of politics, the Justice Department risks collapsing into nothing more than a presidential weapon. He warned that the Supreme Court's reckless ruling had handed the president something close to a get-out-of-jail-free card, an open path to bend justice for personal protection. Bondi, standing firm in her defense of Trump, tried to muddy the waters by insisting there was no credible evidence left to investigate around the 2020 election or January 6th. But Schiff didn't let her retreat into talking points. His warning was crystal clear. If the Supreme Court shields presidents, then only a truly independent Justice Department can keep the line between law enforcement and corruption from being erased.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, as you know, the Supreme Court in Trump versus United States held the president has absolute immunity to commit crimes in certain core areas of the president's responsibility. One of those core areas is the Justice Department. So in a breathtakingly dangerous and irresponsible decision, Justice Roberts and the majority held the president could commit crimes using the Department of Justice and be immune from prosecution. Justice Sotomayor correctly said this new immunity lies about like a loaded weapon. So the fear and the concern we have is that the incoming president will use that loaded weapon, that immunity, to commit crimes through the Department of Justice. And for that reason, it is all the more important that we have an attorney general who has the independence, the strength, the intestinal fortitude to say no to the president when it is necessary. So my first set of questions has to do whether you have the independence to say no when you must say no. And you can say this is hypothetical, but it is not hypothetical. So let me start with one very specific non-hypothetical. The president has said Jack Smith should go to jail. Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without looking at a file.
So you would need a factual predicate to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
Not a summary by you sitting here. Yes, sir.
And not a summary by the president either, right?
Absolutely.
So a summary by the president or his desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case. You know,
and sitting here today,
Senator, 72% of Americans
I only have
have
7
lost
minutes.
faith in the Department of Justice.
Sitting here today, are you aware of any factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Sitting here today, yes or no?
Senator, I will look at the facts and the circumstances.
You can't answer that question? You're not a part of the department yet. There's no worry about divulging
I'm sitting
law
here as a
enforcement
nominee.
sensitive information. So just tell us, are you aware of a factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Yes or no?
Senator, what I'm hearing on the news is
Are you aware of
horrible. Do I know if he committed a crime? I have not looked
You seem reluctant to answer a simple question. Let me ask you a different simple question. The president also wants to jail Liz Cheney. Sitting here today, are you aware of any factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Yes or no?
Senator, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to answer that question.
No, it's not hypothetical. I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one has asked me
to
investigate Liz Cheney. That is a hypothetical.
The president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president has
We're
called-
also
the
worried about
president-
Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
You know
called
what we
for
should
this-
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
The
please
crime rate
answer
in
my
California
questions.
right now
You
is
are
through
aware,
the roof.
Ms. Bondi,
Your robberies
Ms.
are
Bondi,
87%
my
higher
question-
than the national
my question
average.
is this.
That's what I
My
want to
question
be
is this.
focused on, Senator.
Do you have the
if I'm
power to
confirmed
say
as
no to the
Attorney
president?
General.
And what you're suggesting today by your non-answer is you don't have the independence to say no to the president. So let me ask you a different question. It also requires you, if you're going to be a good attorney general, to be able to tell hard truths to the president. So my questions now are, can you tell hard truths to the president? So let me start with an easy truth that you could speak to the president. Can you tell him that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? Can you say that? Do you have the independence to say that? Do you have the gravitas, the stature, the intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election? Can you tell us that here today?
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I
No,
won't
I'm just
do it.
asking you a simple
I
question.
won't play
If you can
politics
speak truth
with any
to
ongoing
power. So
investigation,
let me ask you another.
like you did
let me-
leaking your
let me ask
colleague
you-
Devin Nunes's memo.
If you can't answer the question, let me ask you a different, what should be a simple truth, not a hard one. Was there massive fraud affecting the result of the 2020 election? Yes or no?
Senator, I'm glad you asked that question. If you'll let me answer what I saw in Pennsylvania.
No, I asked a simple question about massive fraud.
I can only tell you what I saw in Pennsylvania.
I know you want to answer a different question, but my question is, can you tell us whether there was massive fraud affecting the results of the 2020 election? Yes or no? Was there
I
or
can
was there
tell
not?
you what I saw when I went
That's
as an
not my,
advocate
that's
to
not
the
my
campaign.
question. So you can't answer that question. You can't speak that even easy truth to us, let alone to the president. So let me ask you a different question. It will also be important that you give good advice to the president. Are you prepared to advise the president not to pardon people who beat police officers?
Senator, as I said, the pardons are at the direction of the president. We will look and we will advise. I will look at every case on a case.
so you
Let me
look
finish.
at-
On a case-by-case
Okay,
basis.
okay, good.
And I abhor violence to police officers.
Follow up with that. So will it be your advice to the president, Mr. President, I know you said you want to issue hundreds of pardons on day one. Will it be your advice to the president? No, Mr. President, I need to go over them on a case-by-case basis. Do not issue blanket pardons. Will that be your advice to the president?
Senator, I have not looked at any of those files. If confirmed, I will look at the files
And
for
will
the
you be able to
pardons, as
do,
well
will
as
you
the
be able to
ongoing
review
investigation.
hundreds of cases on day one?
I will look at every file I am
Of course you
asked to
won't.
look
So
at.
will you advise the
Hey,
president?
can I
will
answer
you-
the question?
Well, my question
I would
is-
have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
You'll be able to review
Listen, I'm
hundreds
not
of
going to
cases on the first day?
mislead this body nor you.
All right, let me ask another question. You don't want to answer that. Let me ask
You were
another question.
censured by
It will
Congress, Senator, for
it will
comments just like this that
it
are
will
so
also, It will also be important for you to be able to preserve the records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed under your watch?
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the
Do you
department.
see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation? Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit to this committee, we will never destroy the evidence in the January 6th investigation? Why can't you give this committee and the American people that assurance?
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump that was false? Is that why you're
Why do
frightened
you
now?
have
I can't
difficulty?
believe this is even.
Why do you have difficulty answering that question?
I can't believe
Why do you
you're
have
asking such a
difficulty?
question.
Why do you have difficulty promising to preserve evidence at the Department of Justice? Why is that a difficult question?
I will follow the law.
It shouldn't be a difficult question.
And just like that, the divide grew wider. The spotlight turned to Special Counsel Jack Smith, exposing once again the partisan fractures that shape Washington. One senator cut through the noise with a simple point. Investigations must rest on solid evidence, not on the whims of a president or the weight of partisan rumors. Schiff echoed this, emphasizing that Trump's dramatic statements and repeated claims aren't proof in themselves. Pam Bondi, however, painted the Justice Department as politically biased, working to cast doubt on its integrity. Schiff countered firmly, reminding the room that suspicion is not evidence and doubt is not guilt. Their clash was about much more than Jack Smith. It revealed a larger crisis, the struggle over whether America can still separate facts from spin, credible evidence from manufactured doubt. The debate soon shifted toward Liz Cheney, raising questions not only about her role, but also about the value of truth itself. Schiff challenged Bondi on the lack of evidence behind efforts to discredit Cheney, while Bondi pivoted to talking points about local crime rates. Schiff pressed harder, asking the central question, could she admit the plain truth that Trump lost the 2020 election, or would she continue echoing claims that had never been proven? From there, the focus turned to presidential pardons. Bondi avoided direct answers, speaking vaguely about case-by-case reviews, while Schiff pointed to the broader issue, whether pardons had been used as political favors. He reminded the room that this wasn't about technicalities. It was about preserving the integrity of democratic institutions against unchecked executive power. Another pivotal moment came when Schiff asked whether Bondi would commit to protecting January 6th evidence. Her refusal to give a clear yes struck at the heart of accountability. Schiff warned that, without firm safeguards, key records could be hidden, altered, or lost, leaving history itself open to being rewritten. Transparency, he said, is meaningless if the evidence disappears. Again and again, Schiff forced the conversation back to fundamentals. Bondi's pattern was consistent: avoid direct answers, shift topics, and defend Trump at all costs. Schiff's role, by contrast, was to cut through evasions and insist on clarity. The confrontation wasn't about minor disagreements. It was about where the lines of power should be drawn, what counts as credible evidence, and how democracy can endure if truth itself is treated as optional. Schiff's relentless questioning laid out the stakes clearly. Without independence inside the Justice Department, law enforcement risks becoming a tool of politics. Without a shared commitment to truth, falsehoods gain legitimacy. And without preserving evidence, accountability, and even history itself, can be erased. In the end, the clash between Schiff and Bondi wasn't just about one attorney general, one president, or one investigation. It was about whether America will uphold principle over partisanship, truth over evasion, and democracy over loyalty to any single figure. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to subscribe. The next installment will dive even deeper into the debates shaping America's future.